My next patron question is from Graham, who wants me to compare two divisive films from the same superhero movie franchise. X-Men 3: The Last Stand and Dark Phoenix are two critically panned X-Men films that both adapt the same storyline from the comics. Which is better? As he mentioned, neither of these movies are particularly well received among critics, audiences, and X-Men fans. Both attempted to bring the popular Dark Phoenix Saga comic book arc to the big screen, but in the end were rather unsatisfying in their execution. Which one do I prefer? I'm going to say The Last Stand, which, believe it or not, I actually only got around to watching a week ago. For years I heard how terrible the movie was, but in the end I thought it was okay. Not great, but there were elements I thought were well handled here. The storyline involving a mutant cure was actually a really interesting idea, and the film did explore the concept in an intriguing manner, as we see the X-Men's different viewpoints on the subject, like Storm being completely opposed and Rogue wanting to take it. The idea of a mutant who can take away other mutants' abilities is also inspired. I have to give credit to the film for how it depicts Warren Worthington, the man who gives the go-ahead for the cure. It would have been easy to just make him a copy of Senator Kelly, the villain from the first movie. The filmmakers instead chose to make him more misguided rather than an outright villain, which gave him some complexity. Meanwhile, we see Magneto ultimately become the sort of person he always opposed, which was a curious direction to take the character. The action sequences are also directed quite well. So there are plenty of good aspects in The Last Stand. Where I thought it fell short was, ironically enough, the Dark Phoenix subplot. Anytime we cut to Jean Grey, it was like watching a different movie, separate from the Cure storyline. And where it went did not excite me. Cyclops is annoyingly killed off, although this is mainly because James Marsden was busy on Superman Returns. And in the third act, Jean Grey does not contribute much to the story, and is mainly required to just stand around. I also did not care for the love triangle between Rogue, Iceman, and Kitty Pryde. Apparently Fox was mostly interested in the Cure storyline, while the writers championed the Dark Phoenix angle, and the difference in opinion in what the film should be about does come across in the finished product. Again, I actually think The Last Stand is an okay movie. It just needed to be a bit more focused. Not that having one storyline helped Dark Phoenix, which I found a largely underwhelming experience. I think one of the most important ingredients in any superhero film is having a rooting interest in the heroes saving the day. And I felt Dark Phoenix fell short of that requirement, as I never found myself caring. The actors are certainly trying, but it's hard to be excited when the action scenes mostly require them to just wave their hands around with special effects added in later. Outside of the opening scene in outer space, I did not think there was one memorable action sequence in the movie. There's a scene where a major character dies, which should have been a shocking and heart-wrenching moment. Instead, I had no reaction. And then there's Magneto, who is actually rather pointless. You could have cut him out entirely, and it would not have made much of a difference. He's only in the movie because it's an X-Men movie, and it's more or less a requirement for Magneto to show up. I also keep forgetting there are villains in this movie, which says something about how dull they are. Because of Disney buying Fox, Dark Phoenix became the final film in the main X-Men series, and this conclusion sadly ended with a whimper. However, I do want to say something about Simon Kinberg, who directed Dark Phoenix and is one of the credited writers on The Last Stand. X-Men fans like to give him a lot of flack, and I think it's largely undeserved. It's not easy making these large-scale franchise movies, especially with something like X-Men, where you have so many characters to juggle. And I think he did try his best for someone who had to meet the expectations and demands of comic book fans, the people running the studio, and even himself. While I was disappointed in Dark Phoenix, I'm still looking forward to what he directs next. And hey, unlike a certain other person involved in these movies, he at least showed up to work when he was required to. Anyway, let me know in the comments whether you prefer X-Men 3: The Last Stand or Dark Phoenix, and thank you for your question, Graham.